I arrived home 15 minutes ago and was surprised that my wife Molly wasn't home yet. She stayed late at work several times a week, but was still usually ahead of me at home and had dinner ready by the time I walked in the door. I grabbed a beer and was about to call her about dinner plans when she beat me to it. My cell phone rang. "Hello, dear. Are you still at work?" "Yes, Jack, but we're leaving now. I have a surprise for you that I think you will like, at least I hope you will. I'll definitely like this. We need to talk when I get home, so please be there and ready to talk when I arrive. I'll be home in 20 minutes. Should I start dinner or run and buy something?" "No, Jack. We won't have time for that tonight. Maybe later. But Jack, just remember that I love you, and only you, and I can't wait to see you. I love you too, and will be waiting for you with open arms." 20 minutes later, my wife Molly came in, and I immediately thought she looked a little rumpled. Her clothes were wrinkled, her stockings were missing, and her makeup and hair were a little disheveled. "Wow, you must have had a rough day, Molly. You look kind of disheveled." "What's the matter?" Molly quickly came up to me, hugged me, and, looking into my eyes, whispered, "Jack, you know that I love you so much, and I know that you love me and would do anything for me, right? Of course, Molly, I might not kill for you, but I would do almost everything else. So what happened? I can't wait to hear what predicament you're in this time." "Nothing like that, Jack. Just let me talk. And when I'm done, you can ask me questions. You know how you pretty much let me make almost all of our decisions, and you're so kind and loving to me that you let me do almost anything I want. Well, over the past few weeks, I've been telling my boss, Ralph, about our relationship, and he has a few ideas that I think make sense. He made me read some stories about submissive men who like to be dominated by their women and how it really helps make their relationship work. I have to admit, Jack, that these stories were very erotic and really excited my fantasies. Molly, yes, I am kind to you and allow you to do your own thing regarding any decisions that are not life-changing or critical, but if you remember, in matters such as what house we will buy, what cars we will buy, how we invest our money, and major financial decisions are up to me. But I admit that I like to let you make decisions about things that are important to you, things that make you happy, like vacations, what movies to watch, what restaurant to go to, even what clothes I should wear. But I don't think that makes me submissive. I just love you and want you to be happy. My dad told me that the secret to a happy, stress-free marriage is to not worry about the little things. He then reminded me that almost everything is small and life should be lived as positively and happily as possible. Okay, Jack, but I still think my boss was right when I compared you to him. He is domineering, powerful, and takes what he wants. People bow to his strong personality and do what he decides, not the other way around. He explained to me that he is an alpha male, dominant, and at the top of the hierarchy, while people like you, although loving and sweet, are more of a beta male and like to be dominated and subjugated. They may not know it yet, but they have this quality, and it is waiting to come out. Well, I think this is some third-degree pop psychology bullshit, and I completely disagree. But what are you getting at? When I said this, I saw some guilt, and the confidence with which she spoke faded a little. Jack, my boss told me that he's going to dominate me in bed and have me like I've never had before. He has his buddy's big size, and he brags that he knows how to use it, and he's been making me feel it in his office for the last few weeks. And I have to say it's huge. I know it was wrong, and I probably crossed a line that a young married wife should avoid, but it really turned me on, and for the past few weeks, I've been having fantasies about him seducing me in the office. He explained to me that you would probably really like me being close to him, that you, being submissive, might even want to watch, and if not, then in any case, you and I will have the most incredible sex of our lives when I return to you after I have dirty fucking sex with him. I looked at her, expecting a climax, but suddenly I realized that she was serious. What the fuck, Molly? You've got to be kidding me. How could you think that I would put up with this? Jack, I know that you love me, and I know that you want me to be happy. I am convinced that this will take our love and our sex life to a whole new level. Molly, are you telling me that you had sex with your boss? Why the hell were you doing that, Molly? Oh no, Jack. I would never cheat on you. Bullshit. You already did it. You had intimate conversations with Ralph and you already told me that you touched his boyfriend. Did he fuck you? She lowered her eyes and, unable to look me in the eyes, said, No, Jack, not yet. He waits in the driveway so we can talk about it, and then he comes up to our bedroom, and we're going to have sex. You can look if you want. Ralph would have loved it. But if not, then when we're done, you can come and pick me up, and I'll have a treat for you, and I'll let you do anything and everything to me that you could ever dream of. Are you kidding me? The thought of me being with you after you've been with him makes me want to puke. And what will happen now, Molly? Because I will say no and demand that he be sent away. Molly's face now showed panic. I could tell she wasn't ready for that answer. So now she was obviously going to try a more assertive approach, probably trained by her slime bag boss. Jack, you love me, and I want it. You always let me have my way, and I decided that it would be good for us. We'll at least try this once, although I'm sure it will be so good that we'll likely want to continue. Now I'll go upstairs and get ready for him and for you. You can let him in, and then wait until we're done. I know you will want this for me because you love me, and I know it will be so good for us. Well, Molly, I see where your head is and where our marriage and vows seem to be, so go and get ready, and I'll just go out and have a quick talk with your lover. Jack, he is not my lover. This is just rough, powerful, domineering sex. I will always love only you and will be yours forever, and you will be mine. With these words, Molly came up to hug and kiss me, but I pushed her away and saw surprise and pain in my eyes. Well, don't let me keep you, Molly. I see that you will do this, no matter what I say, if not now, then soon, maybe without even telling me. Anyway, you've actually already cheated on me, so go upstairs and get ready. Her look of guilt and shock at my statement made her stop, but then she turned to leave. On the stairs, she turned around and said, You will see, Jack. This will be epic. Yes, Molly, this will be epic. You have the right to do this. After she walked up the stairs, I reached into her purse and took out her car keys, house keys, and phone. From her wallet, I took out our joint credit card, and then went into the kitchen and grabbed a dish towel from the laundry drawer and some zip ties from the utility drawer. I also grabbed a very large carving knife and went out to meet Ralph. Ralph was sitting in the driver's seat of his car, reading his phone, and when I got out, he rolled down the driver's window and said, Okay, little Jack, I assume your wife told you. Don't worry, I'll still let her have sex with you, at least for now, until she's completely at my mercy. You'll like it. I never let him finish his last statement. I threw my whole body into the angriest, most brutal left hook I could muster and hit him right in the nose. A characteristic crunch confirmed that I had done some damage. Then I handed him a kitchen towel and said, Here, you might need this, Ralphie. He quickly brought it to his nose, and when he did, I wrapped the zipper around his left wrist, pulled it up, looped it around the headrest bar, and pulled it tight. I then opened the car door and threw him another left hook, although this time it hit him right in the centroids, the family jewels. Yes, his supposedly large manhood from the waist down. He leaned forward in the seat, curled up as much as he could, with the zipper on his left wrist tied to the headrest, his right hand gripping the steering wheel and screaming in pain. I immediately took the opportunity to zipper his right hand to the steering wheel. I leaned towards his face and said, So the big, strong, dominant alpha male has problems with asserting himself? What a pathetic sack of crap. You analyzed this situation as poorly as possible, and you will learn about your mistakes. Unfortunately for you, Molly is expecting something epic, so let's give it to her. I picked up the water hose that was lying in the grass. Attached to it was a perfectly fitting steel nozzle for spraying water. I swung and broke the side window into a mass of fragments that covered the inside of the seat and the floor of the car. I then walked to the front of the car and hit the windshield, and although I didn't manage to break it, I filled it with cracks and dents, as if the car was being hit. with pieces the size of golf balls. I also broke the headlights, and this gave me great satisfaction. I went back to the driver's window and said, laughing, "I think you might need to work on your car a little." I then grabbed a knife from my back pocket, quickly leaned towards the car, and placed the knife against the jugular vein in his neck. In my most intimidating voice, I hissed, "How many times have you had my wife try to convince her that I will allow this to happen?" I saw the fear in his eyes as he stammered. "Only twice in the last few weeks. It didn't mean anything. It was just sex for both her and me. Just let me go, and you'll never see me again." I looked at him as if he were some pathetic form of scum. "I'm not going to kill you, at least not right now. But if I hear anything from the police, or if I have any other problems about our little conversation today, then I will come back to find you. If you go to the police, I'll probably go to jail. Maybe I'll be released on bail, maybe not. Maybe I'll serve some time, maybe not. Regardless, at some point in your future, I will find you. Maybe in the parking lot, on the way to the car, maybe in the elevator at work. I will find you and finish you. It's your choice. This could be the last time you see me, or you could be looking over your shoulder for the next week, month, year, until it's time to end you." With these words, I leaned over him, stuck the knife into the passenger seat, and said, "Your slut Molly will need this to free you so you can drive her away. Or maybe she'll take you to the emergency room. No matter, just make sure you get her out of my sight." I walked into the house, and when Molly heard the front door close, she called from the bedroom, "Is that you, Ralph? Come and fuck me. Have you worked things out with Jack?" My first thought was, what an incredible fool. Who was this woman? I answered, "Molly, Ralph is in the car. He wants you to come out and talk to him. I think he may have changed his mind." A minute later, Molly came down wearing the underwear I had bought her and the robe she had thrown on. "What happened, Jack? Did you reassure him that everything was fine?" "Molly, I assured him that his future depended on his actions. You should probably go out and talk to him." She looked at me confused and said, "Jack, please remember that I love you, and this will make us stronger." "Of course, Molly. I already feel stronger." She smiled and walked out the front door, and I immediately locked it behind her. I walked up to the garage and pressed the button to open the garage door, and as I was going upstairs, I heard her screaming, "What have you done? Jack, come here." I ignored her words, went up to the bedroom and pulled out one of our suitcases. I grabbed a good handful of clothes from her drawers of underwear, bra, and socks. I pulled some t-shirts, jeans, and sweaters out of her closet and put them in the suitcase, then went to the bathroom and threw as much of her makeup and stuff into the suitcase as I could fit. I went back to the closet and grabbed a pair of her tennis shoes. I went to the guest bedroom at the front of the house, opened the window, and shouted, "Molly, here, you might need this," and he dumped the suitcase in the driveway. Some perfume bottles might have broken, but no matter. Not my problem. Then I threw my tennis shoes, aiming for her head, but she managed to dodge. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Jack, please, what are you doing? I was sure this was what you wanted. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you angry or hurt you. I can't believe how cruel and vicious you were to Ralph. For God's sake, he's my boss. Please, Jack, let me in so we can talk about how to get through this. Molly, I can't even begin to tell you how ridiculous you've sounded since you came home with your little ploy to turn me into your cuckold. I'm wondering if you've had a stroke or are on drugs. Or maybe I just never knew how petty and pathetic you really are. Regardless, it doesn't matter at this point. I want you to get the hell out of here. Take your lover to the hospital, but on the way, be sure to ask him what will happen if any word of today's activities reaches me from the police or anyone else. I'll put the rest of your things in bags and you tell me where to leave them, but never dare to return to this house again." With that, I slammed the window, went downstairs, opened the front door, and threw my purse at her head, this time at least hitting her in the chest. Before slamming the door, I couldn't resist adding, "Is this enough for you, Molly?" I locked the door and went to the kitchen to open my second beer of the day. I realized that I needed to talk to my lawyer immediately in case the police showed up. I also needed a recommendation from a good divorce lawyer. I went to the front window and saw Ralph screaming and swearing at Molly as she cut the zippers. She put her suitcase in the trunk. He got out, got into the back seat and lay down, and she got into the car, sobbing and looking like she was in shock as she put the car in reverse and pulled out of the driveway. As the adrenaline in my system calmed down and I began to relax, I was completely shocked by what had happened, how my wife had gone so completely off the rails. I was amazed and somewhat frightened by what I did in a fit of anger to her boss. I was too close to finishing him off, and now I realized he just wasn't worth it. I laughed when I thought about the crap he fed her about him being an alpha and me being a beta. Being a nice, easygoing guy and letting his wife have the final say in making good decisions was done out of love and desire for a happy life, a happy, lifelong marriage. But she completely misunderstood kindness, like I was a submissive beta personality who would let her cuckold me with a dumb ass like Ralph. Wow, I didn't see this coming at all. For the next few days, Molly stayed away from the house. I kept getting calls from unknown cell phones, and I assumed it was Molly since I confiscated her phone. Finally, she left a voicemail begging me to call her back on this number so we could talk things out. I knew it was only a matter of time before I had to face her, and given that the police didn't show up to handcuff me, I thought I had dodged a bullet and now I had to end this heinous case. I called Molly and told her to come back in an hour and we could talk. I hung up, finished packing everything in the house that I thought belonged to her, and sat on the porch waiting for her. Molly drove up in her car, which she had apparently picked up from work. I didn't know if she was living with Ralph, her parents, or friends, or in a motel. And I was a little surprised at myself because I wasn't really interested in where she was. She got out of the car and waved at me hesitantly before coming and sitting next to me on the porch steps. Her face showed many emotions, including some fear, shame, guilt, and apprehension. Her face looked swollen and blotchy, indicating to me that she had been crying a lot and sleeping very little. She looked at me shyly. "Jack, I'm so sorry for what I did. I don't know how I let Ralph talk me into asking you to have sex with him, under the assumption that you were submissive and would like it. I've been thinking back over the past few weeks and I don't understand how I fell for all this nonsense. I guess it was his dominance and insistence on how this would be so good for us and how I would have the best sex of my life, both with him and with you after him. You must think I'm crazy, and I probably was for a while. But Jack, now I'm back and I love you and I want only you. I ask you to forgive me and I promise that I will be the best wife you could ever have and spend my life making amends with my guilt before you." "So Molly, what was Ralph like in bed?" "Stop, Jack. After that, I never touched him. And he's so afraid of what you said that he fired me and doesn't want to come near me. Besides, he spent 2 nights in the hospital after what you did to him. He made up a story about a robbery and we both stuck to it so you wouldn't get hooked. Well, at least he did the right thing about this. What do you want, Molly?" "Jack, I want you. I want to come home and be your wife for the rest of our days. I want you to forgive me. I will do everything to make amends to you. We can get through this and be better than ever, Jack. I've decided that you're the only one I can ever love, and I need you to forgive me. What do you say, Jack? Can I please come home?" "Molly, I thought a lot, and this is what I decided. You and I have been in love for 2 years and married for 3. Now, after just 5 years, you're obviously already bored with our life, or at least our sex life, and are looking for more. You may think you love me, and maybe you do, but I'm damn sure you don't respect me. You would never think of me as some submissive beta male who would willingly let you fuck his boss and make me clean up after him. If you actually had any idea about what love or respect is. Besides, Molly, you really cheated on me. Ralph said that you had sex with him at least a few times in the previous weeks while he talked you into this alpha-beta male nonsense. Your lust has surpassed your vows and the promises you made to me, and this is only 5 years later. What will happen in 7, 10, 15, or 20 years? How many times will you get bored and break those vows? Jack, I will never do this to you. You've already done it, Molly, so don't say never. No, I thought about it a lot. We don't have kids, We don't have much savings, and our only real asset is our house, which has very little equity. I've decided, Molly, that the risk of staying with you is much greater than the benefit of it. I am convinced that it is only a matter of time before you justify your affair to yourself, and given the unfortunate experience with Ralph, next time you will simply go behind my back. I don't trust you anymore, and what's worse is that I've lost respect for you. I can't be with someone who doesn't respect me, and who I no longer respect. Molly started crying when I explained my decision, and now she cried when I told her we were done. Molly, we're getting a divorce. You leave your car, I'll leave mine. We can split the savings and sell the house. We are both still young, and I hope to start over with someone who will love and respect me for who I am. I've already hired a lawyer for the divorce, so we can do this amicably, or you can hire your own lawyer. Now let's load the car with your things, and you can go and fuck as many alpha males as you want. I'll start moving out next week so we can put the house on the market. No, Jack, no, you must forgive me. I need you. I love you. I really respect you. It was just a mistake that I was dragged into. You must forgive me. Molly, I'm sorry. I said everything. Now it's time to move on with life. And if our paths cross in the future, let's just deign to say hello, but continue to walk by. And I hope that you find what you need. With that, I started loading her things into the car, and when we were done, I just looked at her, said goodbye, walked into the house, and closed the door behind our marriage. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.